Welcome back. All right, so the second game of the night, at least playoff game, the third game of the day, and boy, Tampa. This was a big game, and they Stamkos is on the board, Kucherov's not. This wasn't that kind of game. This was a completely different beast than game one, and Florida's, well, they're in trouble. Florida's definitely in trouble. They had that emotional, huge, big first game that they lost. And tonight, the emotional level didn't seem to be as high. It didn't feel like this was as hotly contested, and they need to find that when they get to game three in Tampa. So it's Driedger versus Vasilevsky, both teams playing 11 forwards and 7 defensemen. Florida doing this because, of course, Bennett suspended, and Tampa doing this because Joseph scratched to get Luke Shen in the lineup. So maybe this is a matter of we think things are going to get a little more physical. We'll take Joseph out, put Shen in just in case. Early press by the Panthers. The Bolts would clear it. Lomberg in the middle of stuff early. He had a fight with Luke Shen late in the season, the regular season. We didn't see a fight between them tonight. Lomberg was not as prominent in this game. Kucherov, he was getting booed when he touched the puck, but I thought, you know what, that's pretty close to Cooch that he hears when he's in Boston, in Tampa, because Tuukka Rask when he's in other cities may hear booing, but it sounds very similar to the Tuuk chant he gets in Boston, or booing he gets in Boston. So Kucherov, who may get booed in Boston as well, the boos that Florida Panther fans seem to be raining down on him, I thought that's pretty close to the Kucherov chant, so he'll be fine with that. The shots were 3-1 for the Panthers at 4 minutes, and it felt like they got off to a good start until Stamkos scores from Killorn and Savard at 4:54. Stamkos was trying to put it back to Killorn, but it goes off Stralman's leg and in. Hornqvist then got mad at Yanni Gourde. There was no call after the scrum takes place, so Hornqvist kind of unhappy and letting the referee know as well that he was unhappy. Didn't notice any ref you suck. That wasn't on the first board. It's not in this board either. So, I don't know. Lomberg's shot was then turned aside. Forsling had one that was stopped and held as well. One other thing tonight was Vasilevsky was absolutely pretty darn close to perfect. Bolts get a 2-on-1. Weegar defends it. Panthers then press. Tippett had a near miss. Bolts would clear it out, but it's icing, so you can't get the line change on that clear. No breaks, no timeouts, no TV timeouts. Kucherov looked sharp again. His chances were going both ways. Bolts get a 3-on-2. Verhaeghe defends that. And then Driedger made the save on the shot after that. And then it's Palat scoring from point. Now, Point's shot hits the crossbar, and that threw everybody off. So it goes off the crossbar, out to Palat. Palat buries it at 14:58. It's 2-0 Tampa, and that takes the crowd, who were so electric before the game, and it brings them down. And so the Bolts then press for another, up 2-0, wanting to, get that third goal. Driedger denied point after a nice play by Kucherov, and then we get a crossbar for Cirelli. There were 3 posts in total for Tampa Bay in that first period. Palat then throws himself at Montour, and Montour no-sold it. So if you're a wrestling fan, you'll know what I mean. Basically, it was like Palat tried to throw a hit, and Montour just let him bounce off of him and looked at him like, you think you can knock me down, you fool. But yeah, it was 2-0 after 1. Second period, first minute, the Bolts get a power play. The Panthers would kill that off. Not only that, they didn't allow any shots. So no momentum for Tampa off that. Hornqvist then fires one wide. Verhaeghe had a shot that was blocked. Hedman then had a shot that was blocked as well. Vasilevsky dialed in. Absolutely dialed in tonight. And this was a lot less crazy. Like, it was striking me early in the second period, like, this doesn't have that same feeling of, if I turn my head away for 5 seconds, I'm going to miss something big. There weren't all these really fast shifts and fast breaks one way or the other. And you could see that this was Tampa Bay's plan to bring this game down a notch and make sure that Florida doesn't get that confidence and that momentum going, right? So yeah, had been a shot blocked, and then it's more settled into the Bolts style. Bolts were jamming up the middle, no room. Panther speed was neutralized as a result. There was nothing in the middle. They couldn't get around the defense either. They made sure, the way that this was put by the announcers, and I agree with this, they made sure the Panthers were in front of them all night, so the Panthers didn't get behind them. It sounds simple. It's not. Now, the Panthers get a power play on a penalty by Point. The Bolts killed it off, but the fans were really trying their best to get the Panthers riled up. So they would get pressure shortly after that, and then Marchment scores from Verhaeghe and Barkov at 14-21. And then the Panthers, with the crowd now back into it, with it a 2-1 game, they pressed for the tie. Vetrano fires one wide with 4 minutes left. The Bolts then get the pressure. Panthers would clear it out, get a chance as well. And then Gudas flattened Coleman. Now, Bennett got suspended for the charge on Coleman, so I'm guessing he's going to get suspended for the Gudas flattening Coleman. I'm kidding. But I can't help but think that the Panthers have a problem with Coleman. And I'm going to be watching this the rest of the series because it feels like if they have a chance to hit Coleman, they're trying to drive him into next week. Montour had a shot kicked out. The momentum had definitely shifted. Forsling blocked a Kucherov shot. Things get scrummy after the horn. Coleman was hit by Weegar after the horn. Or no, before the horn, Weegar hits Coleman. And it felt like they had it in for him. Now, the Panthers do take a penalty here. So Tampa Bay starts the third period with a power play. And again, it's Coleman getting kind of knocked around by Florida. Kucherov takes a penalty early in the third, makes it a 4-on-4 for 52 seconds. Then the Panthers get a power play. Everything gets killed off. We go back to 5-on-5. Bolts, again, trying to keep the Panthers to the outside, doing their best to block some shots as well. Vasilevsky makes a nice save during this, and he freezes it. So not giving them that second opportunity, not giving them crazy rebounds, this kind of thing. Kucherov then had a little flick towards the net, which was saved by Driedger. It's one of those shots where you expect the goalie to make the save, but it's from such an angle that sometimes those go in, makes a goaltender look bad, but it's a smart play to just kind of fling it towards the net and see if there's room in between the post. Maybe there's room under the arm, that kind of thing, right? McDonough then knocked down Marchment. The fans called for a penalty. I didn't notice that tonight as much either. So, again, it felt like the players were settling into the playoffs, and so were the fans. Let us not discuss how much we dislike the referees at this stage. We need to make sure that we have the energy within us to do it again in Game 5 when it comes back here, having faith that they'll force a Game 5. Lomberg had a chance that was punched aside. Not much room for either team at this stage of the game. Panthers with a power play. Maroon was the one that was guilty of a trip. We get a shorthanded 2-on-1. Gord's shot was stopped. And they kill that off. Things get scrummy with 4 minutes and 35 seconds left. But again, there was less of it tonight and it went on for less time. So when there was a scrum that took place, it didn't linger. There just wasn't that same feeling to it. Hedman had a shot saved with 2:40 left. The Bolts then ice it with 2:17 left, which means you make the signal and you pull Driedger. Absolutely agreed. It's icing, you pull Driedger. Lightning cleared the puck without icing it twice. So one thing that we see teams not worrying about is don't worry about icing it when the empty net's there. Just throw it down the puck and take icing. I have great respect for teams that take the puck and put it straight up in the air, almost straight up. So it's getting outside the blue line. It's going to hit the ice and die. Or you bank it off the boards and you don't give it enough energy to get to the other end of the ice. And that's what Tampa Bay was doing. It takes more time off the clock and then you don't have to worry about icing. You can actually get your changes in. Empty net goal at 18:35 on a nice pickoff at center ice. Palat to Gord. Gord hits the empty net. And there you go. It's 3-1. Things get scrummy at the Bolts net with 1 minute and 7 seconds left. Coleman wanted to fight Lomberg, and it felt like Coleman was just tired of getting smacked around tonight, so he just wanted to fight. It doesn't end up happening. However, the Bolts get a power play to end it. So Driedger would stop a shot from Kucherov, but at the end of the night, your winner, the Tampa Bay Lightning, 3-1. They go up 2-0, heading back to Tampa. All they have to do is win their 2 home games, and Florida would be out already. And again, this is a team that hasn't won a series since 1996. If they do not win a game in this series, that conversation becomes a scream. Because this is going to feel like it was a great opportunity that fell by the wayside for the Florida Panthers. And it's not really fair because Tampa Bay, they are the defending Stanley Cup champions. They are. Even if Kucherov doesn't play this game, I think they win it. This was not a game that was won because Kucherov's in the lineup. This was a team effort by all 11 forwards, all 7 defensemen, and, of course, Vasilevsky being fantastic. The shots, 16-9 in favor of Tampa in the first, 11-4 Florida in the second, and then 13-9 Florida in the third. Final shots 33-29 for the Panthers. Both teams go for 3 on the power play. Hits 42-37 for Tampa. So 79 hits in this game. Block shots 15-13 for the Bolts. Vasilevsky saves 32 out of 33. Drieger 26 saves on 28 shots. So which goalie do you go with in Game 3? Do you go back to Bobrovsky? Bobrovsky didn't have the numbers in Game 1, but that game it felt like it was closer, and yet it wasn't. This just has the empty net goal tacked on top. So it'll be interesting to see what Quenneville comes back with in the next game. How he decides to address this, because Florida's in this. They're not getting blown out, but Tampa Bay's won both games. So if Florida's going to win, they have to win 4 out of 5 against the defending Stanley Cup champions. It is a tough slog for them. I don't know that I see them necessarily doing it. Let me know what you think. Is this series done? Is Florida finished? Or are we in a situation where, Tampa Bay's perfectly set up now to choke it, or what? And again, that's a bit of a stretch, but 2-0 series, we've seen comebacks from 2-0 down before. I just don't know that Florida has it in them. So it will be interesting to see how this goes and what kind of an autopsy we have on a season. If Florida has this great, fantastic regular season, and then it just doesn't happen in the postseason, how does that change the narrative on this year? And does that make it a success, a failure, kind of a meh year? What does that do? And for Tampa, again, are we witnessing the start of them once again maybe going on a run, and maybe they can defend that Stanley Cup? I'll also be interested to see just how electric that crowd is for the Lightning, because electric and lightning works, and I didn't mean it. Sorry, I apologize. Please don't unsubscribe. But it will be interesting to see just how loud the fans in Tampa are, and just how much energy that gives to Tampa Bay next game. Or maybe fires up Florida with the whole idea of, hey, we want to shut these fans up, which it felt like is part of what happened with Tampa tonight in this game, that they kind of took the fans out of it in the first, did their best to try to keep the fans more quiet than they were in Game 1, and keep the Panthers more quiet. So Florida, they need a game that's fast. I think it benefits them to make sure there's as many scrums as possible and be really, really emotional and energetic. And Tampa did a good job of kind of keeping that out of the game tonight. So let me know your thoughts. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.